What's up, everybody? A Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on Space Engineers. We are back in our newly laid out hangar. So in the last episode, we did mostly this and hollowed out the hangar and everything like that and got it kind of squared away. There's a few things that were brought to my attention via comments and things that we could mess around with. For one thing, it seems like most everybody likes this door. As in like a fully framed in and not leaving the rock and stuff like I had talked about doing. So we'll probably keep that, and it kind of matches the whole idea of the door frame things that we had mentioned before of not welding everything down but keeping the door frames and stuff kind of completed. And so that kind of matches, it kind of fits. That and it marries into this wall really well. So, I mean, that was kind of the whole point. There was a couple of other things, though, that I wanted to go over. One being this top part. I've had mixed responses on this top part. Some people said it was fine. Some people said that, it would be a little better to do, like, a 1 block high and then do catwalks and stuff like that instead to make it a little thinner. And I thought of an idea that I think I may end up going with. Now, I'm not entirely sure exactly how this will work. But it was something I want to play around with a little bit. So what I ended up doing is I added in the rounded glass window mod, because that was something I was actually missing, that you have rounded rounded squares. Yeah, if you have rounded squares, let me know. That's like physics breaking, or geometry breaking. Anyways, whatever. It breaks something. It breaks the world in some way. But no, so you have these rounded steel blocks, was what I meant to say, but you don't have any rounded glass by default. And so I kind of like the shape, but I couldn't do windows. So I added the window mod in there so that we could do windows. And so this kind of is an interesting thing, because if I'm... Ooh, wrong button. If I'm looking at this right, and I'm estimating correctly, which, who knows, if I did what I actually want to do, it actually could end up making it taller, which would kind of defeat the purpose now that I'm looking at it. If I didn't do what I was thinking, I'd have to play around with it a little bit and make it a little bit more creative in how to get it to work right. And what I mean by that is this. If I were to put railings, right, all along here, or not even railings, but like catwalks of some kind. For those of you that watch my Empyrean series, you'll know that I ran into this recently in Empyrean 2, that everything works off the grid system. So if I put catwalks where this block is and took the rest of this and made it glass or something, it lowers the profile in that you could walk 1 block lower type of thing. But in terms of building, I couldn't put a ceiling of glass over top of it on this block height without actually building here. It would actually be on this block. And that's fine as long as everything connects and you use the right windows so that everything's properly tinted and all that kind of stuff. But it just makes things a little bit more complicated. But actually, if I use glass, that's probably the best way to do it. Actually, what does the glass actually require first? A metal girder, looks like. Let's just grab these. Okay, and then what typical window pieces? I need basically just a square. We'll do... Actually, let me just grab this +1. There we go. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm thinking about doing, is playing around with maybe doing some catwalk stuff. Now, what I don't know is I don't know that I want to put catwalks all over, for the simple reason that, again, it takes up the entire floor block, meaning I can't actually put anything there. I can't build anything in that square anymore because there's a catwalk there. If it was a little bit more intelligent in that, like, if you put, say, a flight seat or something on a catwalk block and it just merged the two together or something, that would be a little different, but it doesn't do that. So, yeah, what I'm going to do is make a new save file just in case, because usually when I make any major changes, I do the save as thing so I have a backup in case I decide I don't want to do that. And what I'm going to do is lower this all by 1, cover probably the perimeter, including the hangar doors, back parts that are going to be exposed with catwalks. And then what I'll probably do is go around here with glass and see how that ends up looking. So give me a minute, I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so here we are. Now this is a kind of rough sketch idea type of thing, but it's not by any means a finished product. Now, there is one thing I need to address right off the bat that will not work for what I wanted to do, at least not in the current iteration, and that is actually my curved glass. So the problem with stuff being a mod is when the game changes and the mod doesn't. So what basically ended up happening, let me see if I can grab my stuff here, I think I put it all away, is if you grab, let's just say one of these, doesn't really matter, it'll prove the point, and we weld it all up. Now you'll notice this is super clear, and it's kind of like, okay, well that's really, you know, that's really see-through. So this, oh wait, this isn't tinted at all. So that's the problem, is because of the way the newer rendering engine in the game has modified the glass, the mod itself has not been updated to reflect the same, see what I did, reflect, the same thing. And so we have a see-through, and you can kind of see that glass a little bit if you look really, really close. Actually, we saw it a little bit more over here where it gets a little bit reflective. And over here, it's almost non-existent. Like, it's almost entirely see-through. And I read a comment on the mod Steam page, and I think it's because the, I think it's iCaster, or I don't, however you're supposed to say that, but he's the one that does the mod. And I think he made a comment about, that it had to do with the way when they updated the graphic engine and stuff, that it was like, it technically only renders one side of the glass, and then the other side doesn't really render. It's almost like, you're only seeing the tinted side, but it's almost not a double pane anymore type of thing. And so I think that's what's contributing to the problem there, is I think the old one was set up to do, a two-sided render. So with that in mind, and it actually makes sense because this is way clearer than it used to be. A lot of you remember when Space Engineers first came out and stuff, the windows were, it was almost hard to tell which side was tinted because they were both dark. So that changed a lot, and you can tell here I welded these together just to make sure that I had the right sides facing the right way, kind of thing. So I ended up using corners. Excuse me. Well, I say corners, but the angle, the typical straight angled glass, instead of the round curved ones. And you can actually see I left one of the curved pieces here from the steel. So that was my bad thing. But like I said, this is a rough draft, so I'm not really worried about everything being perfect because I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to keep this way. I wanted to get everybody else's opinion. Oh, yeah, I had a runaway glass piece. Thank you. So, obviously, if we continued with this, we would probably, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of the angular to the rounded, but we would more than likely end up changing this to an angled block to reflect this type of thing, and probably, well, we don't really have to do that here, I guess. Because it would still be a flat edge on this side, so technically we could leave it rounded there if we wanted to. I kind of did that, honestly, because it felt kind of like a garage door, almost. How some of the older ones had the big rolled type thing, like a shutter almost. But yeah, we could do a straight angle there to match the windows and stuff. Like, we could change it all up and it would work just fine, because that's purely decorative at this point. Inside here, I did leave myself a little bit of a... It's a little hard to see, and I do apologize for this for anybody that starts getting confused where everything starts and stops, because everything's all this see-through grid. So, yeah, I apologize if when you're watching this, it's kind of like, wait, what is that? Where is that? Oh, I thought that part was there. You know, it gets confusing, at least it does for me. As you can see here, though, I put a couple of flight seats as kind of like control systems for the hangar. Eventually, we could do some kind of glass viewer from under here as well, if we wanted to. I put the catwalks around the perimeter, but like I said, I left it kind of open for building and adding other things inside here. Another thing that a lot of people don't realize or think about, at least I don't usually, if I can find them. Looks like I didn't think about them so much, they're not even in my hotbar. But lights. So lights need like a full block, and even this doesn't seem like it wants to place there. So when you're doing lights and stuff, you have to think about that kind of stuff too. Now, by leaving this, we could actually do corner lights. If I could find the O button. There it is. So we could actually do... No, why won't these work? Okay, now this doesn't make any sense. These will work here. These will not. Why? Why you gotta do this to me, game? Oh, no, it's because I don't have any construction components? That's what it is. Okay, never mind. False alarm, people. We're good. So these require steel plates as their first element, which is what I have. So these I can't actually build, but they would probably work here. So we could do like one here and then one here and stuff like that. You could do corner lights around here instead. That could work. I left this part. This is part of why I said it was a rough draft, because I'm still not really sure about some of this. I left these blocks here mainly because, quite frankly, I wasn't sure how else to do the wall. Now, these, like I said, are above this grid, so we can't actually place blocks here. What I could do is actually break these and then make like a flush angle going this way or something similar to that effect. I don't... yeah, I probably could do that. Like, if I did this here, I could put a block there, and we're going to have to address the floor, or the ceiling of the hangar as well, because it's all messed up now. But we could do... Let's see. We'll go ahead and place that there. Place that there. And that's not gorgeous or anything, but it does give it a little bit more of a taper and less just a bunch of squares. So, but we could play around with that as far as making it one long angle to where it looks more even. You know, you could do a lot of different things. Like I said, I wanted kind of ideas on that. Even if we move forward with this idea, this may still not be something we end up wanting to do. I kind of like it. It's growing on me. The only thing that I'm not a fan of with this idea, this design, is having to modify this to be more angular, and I wanted to keep it a little more rounded, but without rounded glass, this corner piece just doesn't meet up, and then my OCD is going to drive me nuts. So, more than likely, if we keep this design, I'll end up changing this stuff to more slopes and things. But overall, I kind of like the idea. It's growing on me. You all know how much I love glass everything, so the idea of an open glass ceiling is a cool idea. I do think, I don't know where I would put it, but I do think I want to put some glass in here so that the control tower, if you want to call it that, can like look down, you know, kind of one of those, like, honestly, this is a little bit of an RP thing, but I'm thinking to myself, you'd actually want some kind of window thing here to where it's like, our system reads that ship 2 is left. No, Bob. No, it hasn't. You know, like, that seems like it would be a useful thing to have, is having a window to just see it, because I think a lot of times nowadays, especially with all the technology we have, we rely so much on it that sometimes it's better to just use our peepers. Now, here's the other issue. Actually, now that I think about this, this might not be an issue at all. It may have actually improved something, because before, I had the slopes like this. I had them over here to cover up the hangar doors. But now having lowered the floor, I mean, it's actually kind of fixed some things in terms of, now it's like all one level, and it still makes the hangar doors recessed. If I take this, I basically just need to take this all the way back then. It's kind of what, nope, wrong block. That's what I get for trying to be nice to everybody and play without a HUD. Sometimes the HUD gets a little too cluttery, so that's what I was meaning by that. I try sometimes to play without it so that you guys have a better idea, but then it makes it a little bit hard to see what I'm doing. Now some of this becomes redundant, like some of those blocks up here that I'm building on top of. Now I don't really know if I would need those there or not, but frankly they're like one steel plate, so if they get completely covered up, it's fine, and if they don't, I will weld them together. Alright, how's that look? For some reason, I don't know why, but these seem to look much more cluttered than the... Oh, it's because I can see the top X bar. That's what it is. These are covered up by snow. That was messing with my head a little bit. Okay, so that actually makes the ceiling a bit more... It dropped it down and we went further into the stone, but that's okay, because now it's kind of recessed a little bit more, and we still maintain our 4-block height for the hangar door. So yeah, that actually works out a little bit better, now that I think about it. So that's kind of cool. And then, of course, we've got our door that we'll leave that way, because that was kind of the general consensus. Now, the only thing with this is I have no entry into this other than my little hole in the ceiling up here, which is not very conducive. So, we have a couple of options. We could come off of this and just go down and make some kind of, like, ramp entry point. The only thing with that... the only thing with that I'm not entirely sure about is I really don't know how much above ground the base is going to eventually stay. And because of that, it makes me kind of wonder if I should have... Nope. Uh-oh. What did it say? I made it too low. The current rotor rotation is out of limits. The limits will be enabled when the rotor is within range. Oh. Okay. Did that... Why did it stop, though? There we go. I guess it was just because I put it too low, so it just stopped the whole thing from moving. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's fine. We'll mess with the upper thing later. And eventually I want to fix this. A couple people suggested using like a button to set the rotation and stuff, or use a timer block. And more than likely with my programming background and stuff, I'll probably just end up writing a script for it. The only problem that I've run into... stop, please. Thank you. That is not 0. This is lying to me. It says current angle 0, but if that's straight, that's not 0. Come on, game, even I can math better than that. But yeah, I'll probably end up writing a script. The only thing that I need, and I haven't quite figured out yet, and it's kind of just time-consuming, and I haven't taken the time to do it, is to sit down and actually find out how long it takes it to get to each increment. Like, when the sun's at 0, when does it lose its 4 blips in power and you need to convert it to a 45-degree angle? Once I have the timing, it shouldn't be hard to actually do it. You could probably even do it with a timer block, actually, because you would just set it to... Well, I don't know. Because, honestly, you could have it on a constant rotation of, like, a really, really minute amount of speed, that if you did the math right, you could just have it on a constant rotation, and it would basically just be on the same rotation as the sun, so it would just track it, type of thing. The other way you could do it is with, I think the way I did it before, I had an auto script before that's probably broke now. Everything's broke now when they changed the some of the programming block systems. But another way you could do it is based on the power. The max power. If the max power dips, then you can start rotating it, that kind of thing. And once it hits max power, then it stops and things. Like, you can kind of play with it that way. And the other way would be a multi-stage where, like I said, it's like when it goes to a 3-blip power system, then enable the next increment of the upper limit and set the speed, and then when it hits there, you stop. You know, you could have it set up to basically do all of that on its own. So there's a couple different ways you could do it, but more than likely, just for fun and stuff, I'll end up doing a programming script for it, I think. So yeah, back to this. The doorway will probably be somewhere in here, I imagine. I just don't know where, unless... Ooh, here's an idea. Hold on. We could make this a bit of a branching path here. So it's like this would be Hangar, right? And then you could kind of like keep going and go up. Oh, wait, or we could just put a door back here. Yeah. 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 That could work. We could put like a doorway back here, kind of like this, but maybe not so... Maybe a little bit more simplistic. Actually, ooh, that would... if I did that, I want to sink it a little further back in so that I don't have to worry about making a big door frame. Because if I did it right here, you can see how the blocks would stick out, and then it wouldn't be a complete door frame, and then we'd have to ruin this cool stone backing by making a whole wall just for the door. So I don't want to do that. First of all, let me count this too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. So 1, 2, 3. So it should be on this 4th block. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Awesome. Yeah. Let's just start taking this back a little bit. I need to actually find out if there's a mod that gets rid of these little stones, because I can't pick them up or anything. They're kind of useless, and they just keep me from building. But yeah, I'm thinking we'll go 2 or 3 blocks back, maybe. Come on, go away. Thank you. That's 1. At least 2. We need to go at least 2 so that the door frame is nice and recessed. I don't want to do too much of an angle. Okay, and nope, wrong button. It's Alt and F10. So let's just clean this so that I don't have to wait. Actually, I just realized that doesn't work. I thought it worked. That doesn't clear those. That only clears like rocks and stuff, I guess. Okay, so could I put it here? I could, because the back here is about there, so it's about 2 blocks back. So if we did up 1, we still should be further back than that front one. So that works well. Because what I'm going to need to do is bring some kind of passageway or well, I guess I'd have to use mods if I wanted to use a ladder. But for now, we'll just do a passage. We can always modify it later. Let's do just a touch like back here so that I can place a block there, just because it's going to annoy me thinking there's no foundation. And we might not even weld that, I don't know. That's a time will tell thing. So if we do that, is this sticking out a little bit, but that's not a problem because we're going to cover that up. The other reason, some of you may not know this, and, you know, I didn't for a while, so it wouldn't surprise me, but the other reason that I'm adding these other little blocks here is because the game uses a connected texture type system to where if you just put a block here and then a block here and here, you'll get these border square edges. Now, there are mods that get rid of that, but the simplest way without mods is just to connect the blocks up, and then it actually seals the textures like they're supposed to be. So That's just a little side note kind of thing. And what I might do here... Where was that other one here? And let's do a passage. Like I said, we're just going to do this for now. Haven't really even 100% committed to... Oh, I need interior plates. I don't think I have any of those. I think I used all those on my catwalks. How are you doing? Yep, you're good. Okay, let's see. Do we have any interior plates? Negative. But do we have any iron? We do. Okay. So let's just get some of those going. We're just going to grab a few. That should do. And let it finish that, but that way we can keep going. Okay. Okay. So, if I put this here, I'll probably be having to get rid of some of this. Oops, did not think that through. I was thinking just because I could see it, it'd be fine. Negative. Not how that works. Okay. Because the passage, I don't really want to have a lot of stone or anything in it. Oh boy, this is going to be difficult. I'm trying to basically set up the passage without the passage being there so I don't make the same mistake. But getting the angle right so that we don't do anything crazy is going to be difficult. Okay, so that should work. I'm wondering if I need to put a block over here and here, or if you're not going to notice that. Come on, go away. There's probably a way to do that, to get rid of these things. I just don't know what it is. I don't know. I think I think that'll work. I don't think I'll need to cover that up. Okay. What is stopping me here? Why can't I build that? Is there too much of the stone in the way, maybe? That may be a thing. I think that was a thing with the other stuff. The other blocks and things. I can't see it being these little stones. But who knows? I mean, it's letting me build it way back there, and it won't let me build it here. I don't get that at all. Alright. Well, let's try plan B. See if this works. Oh, come on. Am I out of steel plates? That's not what it is it? Nope. So what's stopping me? There's no little pebbles. Oh, whatever. It'll let me build... This thing is being super temperamental today. Alright, so let's just say we actually have blocks there. Now can I build this? Will it attach to it? Oh, hold on. Hold on. I see what's going on. Somehow this makes sense. It really doesn't, but somehow the game thinks it does. So what I think is happening here is it doesn't see it as it's attaching to anything until you're actually attaching it to the ones next to it. But I'm betting if I wasn't in the block here, I'm betting I could do it this way and then it would work. Is kind of what I'm thinking. Tell you what, I'm going to mess around with this for a little bit longer since we're getting a little low on time, and then we will come back in a second. Okay, so good news and bad news. The good news is I actually did manage to get the passageway to work. So it would be kind of like this. You've got your the overhead hangar observation area, whatever you want to call it. And then in the center, we have a tunnel type thing, which I probably would have to fill in a little bit, because originally it wasn't going back this far. I don't know if I could put steel blocks here, or if that would stick up too high. That's something that we'll have to play with. I could just leave it, because we had talked about not actually having everything as sealed up, so we could just leave it that way. And then we have our passageway, which did end up working when you built from the top down, or yeah, when you were up top and building this way, it did, you could stack them on top of each other, and then that leads into the hangar. Now the only thing was, at some point when I was digging this out, I guess I got a little too close to the next voxel grid, because as you can see, there's now a giant hole in the wall where the hangar is. So, I mean, we've got a couple of different options. We could put a window there or something. More than likely what I'll end up doing is saving a copy of the world as creative and then coming in with a voxel hand and filling that in, and then switch it back over to survival type of thing is probably how I'll end up doing that, I think. So yeah. I think that's going to do it for us for this episode. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about all this stuff and what your ideas and suggestions might be for different things. But I think we're going to wrap things up here. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace.